rainy afternoon
You are
in
making the
Nairobi,
store dirty.
a proud salesgirl laughed at
You
a
cannot
mud-stained
afford
bike
anything
rider
here.
in front of an entire store. She mocked his clothes. She insulted his smell. She told security to throw him out like he was nothing. But just a few hours later, that same girl nearly dropped to the floor when the giant screen at a luxury gala revealed the truth. The man she had humiliated was not an ordinary rider. He was one of Africa's youngest CEOs. And the quiet woman who showed him kindness was about to become the luckiest woman in the room. This is the story of pride, humiliation, betrayal, and a shocking reversal nobody saw coming. In the heart of Nairobi's busiest shopping district stood a sleek electronics showroom called Nova Mobile World. Everything about the place screamed class. The floors sparkled like glass. The air smelled of imported perfume. Bright screens lined the walls, playing luxury ads on repeat. And near the entrance, always dressed like she was preparing for a magazine shoot, stood Nia. Nia was beautiful, sharp-tongued, and dangerously obsessed with status. To her, life was simple. People with money mattered. People without money did not. She often said, "I was not born to struggle. I will marry rich, live soft, and never suffer like other women." Her co-worker, Zola, was the complete opposite. Zola was gentle, hard-working, and warm. She came from a modest home and sent part of her salary to help her widowed mother and younger twin brothers. Where Nia loved attention, Zola loved peace. Where Nia looked at clothes, shoes, and cars, Zola looked at character. That afternoon, the rain had just stopped. Outside, the road was wet, and motorcycles rushed past, spraying dirty water into the air. Nia was touching up her lipstick in the reflection of a tablet screen when the glass door opened. A tall man stepped inside wearing a faded helmet, a rain-soaked jacket, and dusty boots. His trousers were stained with mud, and one sleeve was slightly torn. In his hand was an old delivery bag. Nia's face twisted instantly. "Excuse me," she said, taking a step back. "This is not a charging station for roadside riders." The man removed his helmet slowly. His face was calm, strong, composed. "I want to buy a power bank," he said politely. "And maybe check a phone charger too." Nia laughed. "A power bank? In this store?" She looked around so the other customers could hear. "Do you even know the price of what we sell here?" The man said nothing. Zola, who was arranging boxed earphones nearby, looked up. "Nia, stop it," she said quietly. But Nia was only getting started. She folded her arms and looked the man up and down. "You people always like to enter places that are above your level. First you dirty the floor, then you ask for things you cannot afford." A customer near the display table turned to stare. The rider remained calm. "I only came to buy something," he said. "You can show me what is available." Nia scoffed. "Available? For who? For you?" She turned to the cleaner. "Please mop this area after he leaves. The whole place now smells like wet roads." Zola stepped forward quickly. "That is enough," she said. Then she faced the rider and gave him a small, apologetic smile. "Sir, please come this way. I'll help you." But before he could move, Nia blocked his path. "Wait. Let him pay first before touching anything." "I have money," the rider replied. Nia rolled her eyes. "Oh, really? Then show it." The air inside the showroom changed. Even the music overhead suddenly felt too loud. The man stared at Nia for a long moment. Not angry, not embarrassed, just deeply disappointed. Then he reached into his jacket and calmly brought out a black card. Not flashy, not dramatic, just simple. Zola noticed it first. Her eyes widened. Naya noticed too, but pride would not let her back down. She forced a laugh. Maybe you borrowed it. The rider turned to Zola instead. I'd like the strongest power bank you have, he said, and 2 chargers, 1 fast charger, 1 regular. Zola nodded and led him to the premium shelf. Naya muttered under her breath. Some people are too bold for their own good. A few minutes later, the rider paid without bargaining, thanked Zola, and headed for the door. Then he paused. He looked back once, his eyes settling briefly on Naya. And he said, very softly, the way people treat strangers says more about them than the stranger. Then he walked out. Zola stood frozen. Naya tossed her hair and said, Please, men like that always want to act wise after being exposed. But for some reason, Zola could not forget his voice or the sadness in his eyes. That evening, Zola's phone buzzed while she was in the staff bus heading home. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then she answered. Hello? A familiar male voice replied, This is the rider from the store. Zola sat up. Oh. I hope I'm not disturbing you. You slipped your receipt into my bag by mistake. I wanted to return it. Zola smiled. That's kind of you. Most people would throw it away. He gave a short laugh. Most people are not you. They agreed to meet the next day outside a small coffee stand near the bus stage. When Zola arrived, he was already there. This time he looked cleaner, though still simple. Dark jeans, plain shirt, no bike jacket. He handed her the receipt. Thank you, she said. You defended me yesterday, he replied. Not many people do that when embarrassment becomes entertainment. Zola looked down. I'm sorry for how she treated you. He shrugged. Some people only respect polished shoes. They talked for 20 minutes, then 40, then over an hour. His name was Jabari. He said he worked in transport and field operations. He spoke with unusual calm, asked thoughtful questions, and listened more than he talked. Zola liked that. Before leaving, Jabari said, May I see you again? Zola hesitated only a second. Yes. Across town, Nia was busy posting a mirror selfie with the caption, Soft life only. I reject poverty in every form. Hundreds of likes poured in. But peace did not. Because the next morning, a luxury SUV stopped outside the store. A sharply dressed woman stepped out and entered Nova Mobile World. She introduced herself as Mrs. Tembo, head of corporate procurement for Apex Grid Energy. The company wanted to place a bulk order for more than 200 premium devices. Commission from that sale would be huge. Nia nearly exploded with excitement. She rushed forward with her brightest smile. Welcome, Madden. Mrs. Tembo looked around and asked one question. Who attended to Mr. Jabari K yesterday? The room fell silent. Nia's smile wavered. Zola looked confused. Mrs. Tembo continued. He asked me to verify something. Nia forced a laugh. Oh, yes, one delivery rider came in. Mrs. Tembo's expression hardened. Delivery rider? She turned to Zola. Were you the one who assisted him? Zola nodded slowly. Mrs. Tembo smiled for the first time. Good. Then please prepare the quotation. Mr. Jabari prefers dealing with respectful people. Nia's stomach dropped. Who exactly is Mr. Jabari? She asked. Mrs. Tembo looked at her with cold amusement. You really don't know? She said nothing more. But from that moment, Nia felt the first crack in her confidence. Over the next 2 weeks, Zola and Jabari kept meeting. Sometimes for tea, sometimes for a walk, sometimes just to talk while watching city lights from a quiet hill. Jabari never tried too hard to impress her. That was what made him different. He asked about her family, her dreams, her fears. Zola confessed that she once wanted to study design, but had to work after her father died. Jabari listened carefully. "You still can," he said. She smiled sadly. "Life is not always that generous." He replied, "Sometimes it is. It just arrives late." Meanwhile, Nia was obsessed. She searched for Jabari K online, but dozens of names appeared. Nothing clear. Then, one afternoon, while scrolling through a business page, she froze. There he was, not in muddy clothes, not beside a bike, but standing on a stage in a tailored charcoal suit. The headline beneath the photo read, "Jabari Kamau, founder and CEO of Apex Grid Energy, East Africa's fastest rising clean mobility brand." Nia screamed so loudly that even the stock clerk ran from the back office. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." She zoomed in again. It was him. The same eyes, the same face, the same calm expression. The writer she mocked was a millionaire founder, a man whose company was expanding across Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Ghana. Nia's hands began to shake. Then her regret changed into hunger. "If he could walk into that store looking like that," she muttered, "then he's not proud. That means I still have a chance." That was the moment desire turned into strategy. Nia began dressing even more extravagantly for work. She started asking Zola suspicious questions. "Where have you been lately? Who keeps calling you at night? Why are you smiling at your phone?" Zola tried to ignore her, but Nia was watching. One evening, she secretly followed Zola and saw her meet Jabari outside a community learning center where Zola volunteered on weekends. From a distance, she saw them laughing. Jabari carried cartons of tablets into the building. Children ran around him excitedly. And then Nia understood. He was not just rich. He was generous. That made him even more valuable in her eyes. The next day, Nia created a fake account and sent Jabari a long, anonymous message. It read, "The woman you are seeing is not who she claims to be. Zola is desperate. She has been using men for money because of family debt. Ask her why she hides the truth about the child she is raising. Be careful before you become her next sponsor." When Jabari read the message, his face darkened. A child? Why had Zola never mentioned that? He tried to ignore it. But doubt, once planted, grows fast. That night, when Zola called, he did not answer. The next morning, he sent only one short message. "I need some time." Zola stared at the screen in pain. She read it 3 times, then a 4th. She could not understand what had changed. At work, Nia pretended sympathy. "Men are like that," she said sweetly. "Maybe he finally saw something." Zola's eyes filled with tears. And for the first time, Nia felt powerful again. For 3 days, Jabari avoided Zola. But peace did not return to him. Something felt wrong. The Zola he knew was honest, thoughtful, and direct. She did not behave like a manipulator. On the 4th day, Zola went to the Apex Grid office building and asked reception to deliver a message. She wrote only one line. If you believe lies without asking me once, then maybe I judged your strength of character too generously. Jabari read it in silence. Then he called her immediately. They agreed to meet that evening at the same learning center. When Jabari arrived, Zola was seated on a wooden bench outside, her eyes tired but steady. He did not sit at first. "Who is the child?" he asked quietly. Zola looked at him for a long moment. Then she answered without fear. "She is my niece." Jabari frowned. "My older brother and his wife died in a highway accident 3 years ago. Their daughter, Mira, was left with no one stable enough to care for her. My mother is ill, so I stepped in." She swallowed hard. "I did not tell you because I did not want pity, and I did not know if what we had was even serious yet." Jabari's expression changed. The weight on his chest suddenly felt unbearable. "You should have told me," he said, but his voice was softer now. "And you should have asked me," Zola replied. That one sentence cut deeper than anger. Jabari sat down slowly. "I'm sorry." Zola continued. "I have never used any man for money. I work. I volunteer. I raise a child who is not even mine because love demanded it. If that makes me a burden in your eyes, then leave now." Jabari shook his head immediately. "No." He looked down, ashamed. "I received a message, anonymous, cruel. I let it enter my mind." Zola's eyes narrowed. "Read slightly fast, keep pauses minimal, maintain one single male storytelling voice throughout, cinematic and emotionally controlled." And instantly, she knew. Naya. She did not even need proof. Some betrayals wear a familiar face. The very next morning, Jabari sent flowers to Zola's house. Not flashy flowers, just elegant white lilies with a handwritten note. "Forgive my doubt. Meet me Saturday night. I want the truth to stand where lies tried to sit." Inside the envelope was an invitation to the Apex Future Leaders Gala, one of Nairobi's most talked about business events of the year. Dress code, black tie. Venue, the Royal Crescent Hotel. Zola had never attended anything like it. When Naya saw the invitation later in Zola's bag, her chest burned. "You're going to a gala?" she asked. Zola calmly took the card back. "Yes." "With who?" Zola did not answer. Naya smiled, but there was poison behind it. "Be careful. Places like that are for people who belong there." Zola finally looked up. Maybe belonging has nothing to do with money. That line haunted Naya all day. So she made a decision. If she could not stop Zola before the event, she would outshine her there. Through a wealthy customer she had once flirted with, Naya managed to get a last-minute guest pass. Saturday night came, and fate prepared its stage. The Royal Crescent glittered with chandeliers, cameras, and polished marble. Politicians, founders, celebrities, diplomats, and investors filled the ballroom. Naya entered in a sparkling gold gown, convinced every eye should be on her. Then she saw Zola. Simple, elegant, wearing a deep emerald dress with minimal jewelry. No shouting for attention, no desperation, just grace. And beside her stood Jabari, in a black tuxedo, confident, respected, effortless. People greeted him from every side. Board members shook his hand. Journalists called his name. Guests smiled when they saw him. Naya felt as if the floor beneath her was moving. This was no hidden rich man playing games. This was a real force. Then the lights dimmed. The host stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor vision, humility, and leadership that transforms lives. Our young innovator of the year has built one of Africa's most exciting clean mobility and energy platforms. The giant screen lit up. Jabari's image appeared across it. Clips rolled of solar charging stations, delivery hubs, electric bikes, youth training centers, and women-led transport cooperatives. The host's voice rose. From field testing his own operations in disguise to creating thousands of jobs, he has shown that true leaders do not hide above the ground. They build from within it. Please welcome Jabari Kamau. The room exploded in applause. Naya froze. Her lips parted. Her fingers loosened around her purse. For one terrible second, she remembered every word she had said in that store. Every insult, every laugh, every look of contempt. And now the same man walked to the stage while the entire hall stood to celebrate him. Jabari gave a powerful speech, but in the middle of it, he said something that made Zola's eyes fill with tears. Success reveals many things, he said. It reveals ambition, fear, loyalty, and character. Some people respect titles. Others respect humanity before titles appear. Tonight, if I am proud of any achievement, it is that I have learned how to recognize genuine hearts. His gaze found Zola across the room. Nia felt sick, because for the first time in her life, beauty, makeup, and performance could not save her. After the speech, guests gathered around Jabari. Nia waited for her chance. Finally, she approached with a polished smile. "Jabari," she said softly, as if they shared something meaningful. "Congratulations. I think there was a misunderstanding the day we met. I didn't know." Jabari raised one hand. "Exactly," he said. Nia's smile weakened. He continued, "You didn't know, and yet you decided my worth." A few nearby guests fell silent. Mia lowered her voice. "I was under pressure. The store was busy. I may have spoken badly, but surely we can move past that." Jabari looked at her steadily. People always want to move past cruelty after discovering it was expensive. Nia's face burned. Then Zola stepped forward, not to mock her, not to insult her, but simply to stand in truth. Jabari turned toward one of his aides. "Please play the anonymous voice note." Nia's blood turned cold. She had forgotten one fatal detail. The fake account had also sent a short, altered voice clip, and Apex's digital team had traced it. A phone recording filled the private lounge area. Though disguised, the pattern, pauses, and phrasing were unmistakably Nia's. Gasps moved through the group. Nia stumbled back. "I can explain." "No," Zola said quietly. "You have explained yourself for months." Tears formed in Nia's eyes, but nobody rushed to comfort her. Because some tears are sorrow, and some are merely consequences. Weeks passed. Nia lost her position at Nova Mobile World after the store owner learned how she had treated customers and damaged a major corporate relationship. The same online world that once praised her glamorous posts now ignored her. Soft life, she discovered, could not be built on a hard heart. As for Zola, life began to open. Jabari funded Mira's education. He also offered Zola a leadership role in a new Apex Foundation program focused on training young women in tech retail and mobility operations across East Africa. At first, she refused. "I don't want charity," she told him. Jabari smiled. "It's not charity, it's trust." She accepted. Together they launched the first center 6 months later. And on that same stage, in front of community leaders, investors, journalists, and the little girl who had changed everything, Jabari turned to Zola and went down on one knee. The crowd erupted before she even answered. Zola covered her mouth, tears running freely down her cheeks. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, through laughter and tears. "Yes!" At home, Nia saw the proposal on a live stream clip spreading across social media. She sat motionless in a dim room, staring at the screen. Not because Jabari was rich, not even because Zola had won, but because, at last, she understood what she had really lost. Not a wealthy man, not a glamorous future, but the chance to be the kind of person blessings can trust. Never laugh at someone because of dusty shoes, rough work, or humble beginnings. Some people wear ordinary clothes while carrying extraordinary purpose. And sometimes, the person the world overlooks today becomes the name everyone rises to honor tomorrow. But by then, it may be too late for those who only know how to respect success after it is announced. So be kind early. Be humble always. Because character recognizes value long before money makes it visible.